Afternoon, everybody. We are going to look at lesson 11.1 part 2, and we're looking at examples 4 and 5. If you'd like to follow along in your book, turn to page 578. That's where example 4 starts. All right, so here we go. Example 4 tells us that z equals 7 and m equals -2. So they give you those values and you're going to plug it into the first equation. So that first equation is a, and this is the square root of 29 plus z equals, so when we go to our next step, it's the square root of 29 plus, and what the value of z was, which is 7. So 29 plus 7, you're going to add those two together, and you get 36. And so now you take the square root of 36. Remember, unless you're solving for an unknown variable, we will just leave the positive square root. So the answer to A is 6 because 6 times 6 is 36. Remember, when you have a pair under a square root, you pull one out. All right, let's look at example B. Hold that up there. Okay, so example B, let's see, let's come down here. Example B is z squared plus m squared plus 11. So again, remember to keep your square root sign, and we're going to substitute 7 for z. So we're going to put in parentheses 7 in parentheses squared plus, and the value of m, looking above, was -2 squared plus 11. So we look at 7 squared. That means you take the number and you multiply it by the number of exponents. So you're going to do 7 times 7, which is 49. Remember, -2 times -2 would give me a positive 4. Anytime you have a negative number in parentheses and it's squared or it's an even exponent, that answer should always come out positive. So -2 times -2 is 4, so I bring that down to the 49 plus 4, and then bring my last number 11 down. So I add 49 plus 4, which gives me 53 plus 11. Remember, that's still all under a square root. 53 plus 11 is the square root of 64, and what is the square root of 64? That is a perfect square, so that is 8. All right, that is example 4. Now we're moving to example 5, which is found on page 579 at the top. So A is x squared equals 25. And we have to find the value of x. So anytime in math you're solving for an equation that has that exponent 2, you will always take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to take the square root of x squared, and I'm going to take the square root of 25. Remember, x squared actually means I have 2 x's under there. And remember, the square root of 25 could either be 5 times 5, or it's also -5 times -5 will also give me a positive 25. When you have a pair under a square root, we pull one out. So I pull that x out because I have 2 x's, and then I pull a 5, positive 5, and a -5. So the way we write this is x equals plus or minus 5. That tells me my answer is both positive 5 and -5. All right, let's look at the last one here, part B of example 5. And that is h squared plus 5 equals 54. So now we're trying to solve for h. We're trying to get h by itself. So the first step is we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. So now I have h squared equals 49. But remember, we needed to know the value of just h. And so again, anytime you need to get rid of that exponent 2 when you're solving an equation, you will always take the square root of both sides. So you're going to take the square root of h squared and the square root of 49. Remember, that would give us 2 h's under h squared, so when I have a pair, I pull one h out, And remember, 7 times 7 is 49, but also negative 7 times negative 7 is also 49. So that final answer for B is H equals positive and negative 7. We call that plus or minus 7 because it has two answers. All right, I hope that helps you with this lesson. Have a great day, and sure miss you all.